So I just got back from seeing Overlord. This was a film I was highly anticipating. The trailer absolutely blew me away when I saw it. A few months ago, maybe like I don't know how long ago it was, but I was like, oh shit, I need that in my life. I love war movies. I love, zombie movies when they're done well. This just looked gorgeous. It looked intense. It looked exciting. And with J.J. Abrams producing, I was over the moon. And I was like, oh my God, this is one of my most anticipated horror films of the year. Now, I will say that right off the bat, that this is more of a war action film. Like, the horror, while it is there, and if you count the horror of war, then the whole fucking thing's a horror movie. War like this is horror. That's true horror. But what we know is horror anyways, zombies and stuff like that, it's fairly light on that. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it's like this huge zombie apocalypse. Not at all. I would say it maybe takes up 10 minutes of the movie, if not less. So that isn't a focal point of the film. Like the main focal point, should I say. It has a focus for sure, but I don't want people to go into this thinking like, oh my God, it's a zombie movie. Technically, yes, but it's much, much more of a war film with bloody, gruesome action. This is R rating, and they earn that R rating. It's a hard R. The opening sequence, which you do see in the trailer, that's like mostly what the trailer is so fucking intense. Now, this will obviously depend on the theater you see it in, but the theater I saw it in had like full volume, cranked to the max, bass, everything. I thought I was in World War II. That opening sequence is one of the best like World War II segments I've watched. I felt like I was there. Every bullet felt like it was going past my head. Every explosion was rumbling my seat. It was actually making me a little nauseous. I was having so much anxiety during that scene because anytime I think about that stuff, it takes me back to when people were actually in this shit. When they did like, the storming of the beaches in Normandy during D-Day and all that stuff. It's just like insane to my mind that people actually went through that shit. And watching these guys, yes, we've seen this kind of stuff a million times. I know we have, but it never ceases to get at me, get at my nerves. It always works, and this is beautifully done. It is masterfully done, and it is intense. And overall, I just loved the movie. I really, really had a great time with it. I will also tell you that there's maybe 10 minutes of downtime in the entire film. Almost all of it is just like action violence. So this is more of an action film for sure, as I had said, and more so on the war aspect. But man, when those gunshots hit, and this has to do with the theater I was in too, but every time someone shot, the bullets had weight. It felt like it's hitting them. You know those movies you watch where they're having war films? Like Commando is a great example. There's some gore in Commando, but for the most part, he just shoots people, and it's just like little puffs of air come off of them and they fall over. Or sometimes they shoot them and nothing happens. They just like go, oh, and they fall over and like nothing happens here. When people get shot in this movie and they use like high-powered, velocity fucking rounds and shit, these guys are getting torn apart. When it hits, blood is spraying, body parts are fucking falling apart, lots of explosions, people being ripped apart. All that shit is in here, and it's wonderful. It's so well done. I also thought the cast and the characters. I really dug the characters. The lead guy here, I'm not too familiar with him. I know he was in Fences, which I did not see. It's just a shame because I did want to see it. It's just one escape me because I've been so overload on horror ever since I started this channel. I haven't really watched a ton of drama like I used to. But he was really good. Another kid that I recognize from, I think he was in The Walking Dead for a little bit and whatnot. He's like the sergeant or something. He was good. But the guy that I liked the most in this movie is Joe Margoa. Is that how you say his name? I don't know what the hell how to say his name. The thing I know him best from is Orange is the New Black. But I just thought he was hilarious here, and I just really resonated with his character. he's always the wise ass and whatnot. And yeah, it just worked for me. And I thought that, you know, under the circumstances they were in, they held their shit together, but not so much where you're like, oh, these guys are just too hardened. Like, there was fear, but they pulled their shit together and they came together as a unit when it mattered, you know, and when there was turmoil and all that stuff, you could feel the tension between them. I thought this movie was super well directed, super well acted. The action pieces were fucking glorious. I thought, you know, yes, there's some CGI enhancements here and there. They weren't very distracting for me, completely, to be completely honest. I know some people have had some issues with it, but I had none at all. I thought all of it was really well done. There's moments here and there with the main villain guy and his face and stuff. It's noticeable, but it just doesn't take me out of it at all. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that I need to say about this, but overall, man, I was so pleased because I went into this with really high expectations and it was all met. I left the theater completely happy. And if you follow me and you know how excited I was about this movie, you'll know that that is, you know, a great thing. All these expectations were met. I don't usually try too hard, you know, when it comes to expectations. I try to like keep them lower. I'm just like, But I went in, I don't know. This one I couldn't help but fucking blow it out of proportion. And I had said going in, like, this is going to be in my top 5 of the fucking year for horror. And as it sits right now, it might sneak in there. I'm not sure. And it's definitely one of the best action films of the year, easily, with The Night Comes for Us being #1 right now. But I don't see anything beating that. If you haven't seen that on Netflix, please, if you're into martial arts films or The Raid especially, oh my God, it's essentially The Raid 3. Gotta watch it. But yeah, guys, I definitely recommend the shit out of this if this sounds like it's for you. If you're into war films, if you like fucking carnage. And yeah, I think a lot of people were going to be expecting like this all-out zombie film. And I think they'll be disappointed if that's what they're going in to see. But yeah, I dug the shit out of it. So if you saw it, let me know what you thought of it. If you go to see it on my recommendation and you hate it, don't tell me, because I'll feel bad. All right, guys. Adios.